Kia ora koutou. I'm Elaine Kohler at PRINZ, and thanks for joining today's webinar. It's quite exciting actually presenting a webinar rather than just introducing someone to present, so thanks for joining. Today I thought I'd give you a little bit of a sneak peek behind the World PR Forum. As many of you know, it's been a bit of a process over the last couple of years to get to this stage, so we wanted to share where we're at now. The webinar will also be recorded, so you can go back and look at things later, and Rihanna will be sending out a copy of the slides later as well. Okay, so let's get started. So the World PR Forum is a property of the Global Alliance. The Global Alliance is the global industry body for the world PR associations and institutes. So it includes a lot of organisations like PRINZ and some academic organisations as well. They've got around 160,000 practitioners and academics under their umbrella across 26 different countries. So all of you as PRINZ members are also members of the Global Alliance, and their rationale and their mission is to unify the PR industry, to raise the standards, to share knowledge and be the global voice for our industry. So they own the World PR Forum, and we are doing this event with them. So it's the world's largest biennial event for PR and communications management. In 2018, it was held in Oslo, Toronto in 2016, and I went to both of those events. And then prior to that, Madrid, Melbourne, Stockholm, and London. We're hoping in October 2020 that we'll be welcoming around 600 attendees from hopefully 26 different countries across the world. The purpose of the World PR Forum is to examine all the major issues affecting the profession. It very much has a global focus, and it goes back to the Global Alliance's mission about sharing knowledge and being the global voice. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot of variation between the different countries in terms of PR practice. Perhaps that's due to political or legislative environments, maybe it's due to maturity of practice, and maybe it's also due to the types of businesses and organisations in those countries. So it can be quite broad, and the idea is that we'll learn from each other. Provides a platform for discussions and an opportunity to share and explore and respond to different things that are happening. Also, at the end of it, we usually have an outcome for the profession. So it might be something around measurement, or has been in the past, or like measurement and evaluation, or it may be focused on ethics, or it might be focused on capabilities. So that's varied every year, and the board, the Global Alliance board, has decided what the focus will be, and they'll be working on it. But they also draw on the expertise of the attendees at the World PR Forum to advance or come out with a discussion paper or a white paper or a piece of research from that with a special focus on an area. Okay, so this, as I mentioned, started several years ago. So at the end of 2017, we were invited, after putting in an application to bid, to present to the board, the Global Alliance board, for it. So we created, I just thought I'd show you some of the collateral we created. We were really fortunate to have the support of both ATEED and Tourism New Zealand with this. So the two bottom photos, the photo on the left is the cover, and as like cover sleeve, and then you open it and it became our bid document. And in that we included information about PRINZ, what we thought, you know, why they should pick New Zealand as their choice. So, you know, provided our credentials, we pitched, you know, New Zealand as a location. and all of that sort of thing. And then in the top, we also did a welcome card for all the board members, and it opened up and there was a pop-up rata tree, which is traditionally a place for weary travellers to rest under, and we welcomed them to New Zealand. And one of the things that we did, and you'll note in this, I don't know how much you can see in terms of the detail, but we've tried to do everything in both Te Reo Māori and English. And when we did the personal invitations to each of the board members, we did the invitations in their own specific language. So whether it was Indonesian, Norwegian, Spanish, we covered it all. So when we put this bid in, we actually didn't have a theme. It was too early to decide on a theme, but we pitched it as a return to the forum. And our concept was, when I talk about we had a World PR Forum working group that quite a few of our members have been involved in. And we pitched it to be an immersive experiential event rather than having a whole lot of keynote speakers and all the audience just sat in the room. We wanted people to experience and learn. We wanted it to be immersive, and we wanted to turn, you know, the tyranny of distance into a real attribute, so that international visitors felt, you know, it was an opportunity to get away and to think. And we realised a lot of our point of difference was the Māori and Asia Pacific kind of culture that we're operating in, the creativity that New Zealand is quite renowned for, and we wanted to highlight all of those things. If you want to ask any questions, you can just key in your questions on the right-hand side and they'll pop up, and I'll attempt to answer them actually as I go, as I see them. So when we put in the initial bid, we had planned to host it at the new New Zealand International Convention Centre, but as most of you will be aware, there have been some delays with that, and earlier this year we made the decision to pull the plug on that and move our venue to the Aotea Centre. If we get small numbers, so we've done budget plans for 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 and 800 delegates. If we get a high number of delegates, we're really stuck with shifting venues at the last moment. So with Aotea Centre, we've not just got access to the whole centre, but also a lot of the space in front of it. And of course, it's right across the square from the town hall. It's also based right in the city centre, which with the America's Cup, there'll be a lot going on. And we've also secured an accommodation partner, which is Sky City. So we've got the 3 Sky City hotels, the Sky City Hotels, Sky City Grand, and the newly, just about to be completed, Horizon Hotel. The Aotea Centre's also had a bit of a refurbishment, so it will look, it looks really nice. In terms of the format, the World PR Forum is made up of 2 components. The first is a research and practice colloquium, which this one will be held on Monday the 12th. And so this is open to academics as well as practitioners. And the idea is it's a day of discussion and presentations from academics sharing their research. And so it's just a full day prior to the business part of the forum. But like I said, practitioners are also welcome to attend the research and practice colloquium. We've already opened the call for abstracts. That was opened at the end of July. And so please share the word with any academics, educators and researchers that you know. But abstracts of 1,500 words in English will be submitted. And then submissions will close at the end of December. It'll then go through a double-blind review, and those whose abstracts have been accepted will be invited to present at the World PR Forum. So we aim to notify those at the end of January in 2020. Now we have a whole committee of academics. It's chaired by Avril Gordon at AUT, along with academics from around the world, managing that process in terms of reviewing the abstracts and things. All the accepted papers and presenters will also go into a special journal of communication management that will be printed or published after the conference. Following the research and practice colloquium, we've then got the business program or conference as we kind of know it. Now this will take the place of the annual PRINZ conference. It's a little bit different in that it's a 2.5-day conference. The Global Alliance decided, since it was so far for people to travel to New Zealand, they wanted it to be worthwhile for them, so they asked if we could include an extra half day. So that will be Tuesday, Wednesday, and half day on a Thursday. Now the speakers coming will be a real mix of both local and international. They'll come from both within and outside of the industry and come from a wide range of sectors as well. So I'm going to come to the theme in just a minute, but and then we can kind of cover off the strands and some of the format. But as you can imagine, this is still pretty much a work in practice. We have got the dates confirmed, but the content is still being worked on. So the theme is connecting with courage, and within that we'll explore that theme under the 4 lenses of conscience, culture, capability, and creativity. So I'm going to leave you to read that for a moment. Okay, so as I said, we'll have speakers, and I previously mentioned we want it to be as experiential and immersive as possible. And yes, we will have some kind of keynote speakers, and I'll share the format that we're thinking about with you in a moment. But we didn't want people to sit and just listen to speakers. We wanted them to participate, and we're going to call the delegates participants. So it means that they should play a lot more of an active role. And therefore, when we're thinking about who we get to speak, we're not just looking at who will be a good speaker, but who will be a good facilitator, because we're thinking about having some of the sessions as workshops. We think, and it's a very fine balance between, you know, bringing in some kind of big name speakers to get people in the door, but also we feel that there's a huge amount of value in participating in a workshop and not just learning from the speaker or facilitator, but also from your peers in the room. So these are the 4 lenses, and we've put some thought into, you know, some ideas, but I'm really keen to get further ideas from you. So rather than retrofitting speakers to the theme, like starting with speakers, and we do have a big list of you know, a wish list of speakers, we're working through that, and we want to ensure that it is a truly global mix of speakers. But we also wanted to ensure that we started with the theme, then we moved to these 4 lenses: culture, creativity, capability, and conscience, and then work back, like what within, you know, for example, culture, what would you like to see? What are the issues? What are the pressing issues for the industry? So these are just a few thought starters, and we're really keen to understand what you would like to see within each of these lenses. So open to feedback. In terms of the actual format, we're playing around with it a little bit, but at this stage we've kind of got, we'll open with a pōwhiri, then we'll have a welcome address, a New Zealand dignitary. We're hoping that it may be Jacinda, but obviously it's too early to confirm that. Then a big keynote, but then what you'll see is we actually have presentations from 4 speakers, 1 for every strand, and then after the lunch people would be able to choose, or you know, I was really interested in the speaker on conscience and the other speaker on creativity. You'd be able to do a workshop with each of those speakers, so you could do the first hour and a half with one speaker and the second hour and a half with another speaker. And then we would have some panel sessions and wrap for the day. Day 2, and I appreciate that that's very hard to read, but again, it's kind of similar, and you start with a keynote, then you have presentations from 4 key speakers that you can then break down into parallel sessions. And then in the afternoon on that second day, we wanted to give people the option to go off-site. So for example, that might be going to see a speaker / facilitator and doing workshops at one of the maraes or other venues. There will of course be still an option available at the Aotea Centre for people who don't want to go out and about, but we thought it was an opportunity to really get people immersed in a particular element. So for example, if you were going to look at I don't know, something that the Department of Conservation had been working on, maybe it would be an option to go to Turi Matangi. Or maybe if it was looking at the culture of a global brand, i.e. the All Blacks, it's very timely at the moment. I'm not usually very good with rugby. You know, maybe it's going to Eden Park and doing the session there. So we want to make it as immersive as possible. And then on the 3rd day, the Global Alliance is keen to do some special awards. We would do the whole forum at the town hall, so move venues, and the lunch would be, it would have kind of big keynote speakers throughout the morning, because we appreciate people will be kind of tired by then, and then an awards lunch and closing things. So that's the format. We've just started thinking about the social program, and from our perspective, we don't see this as separate to the rest of the forum. It's an integral part to the whole World PR Forum. I mean, a lot of the value that you get from attending comes from the new friends and networks that you make from the informal elements. And so we plan on having opening drinks at the Auckland City Art Gallery on the Monday night after the research colloquium. And then the main event would be on Tuesday, the 13th of October, after the first day of the business program. And at this stage, we're investigating options of doing something with the Māori Kitchen. And if you're not familiar with them, they have a hangi pit down on Queen's Wharf in the city. Now they'll also have a mobile hangi pit that will be ready for next year. So we're looking at either doing it down on Queen's Wharf and activating the area, or doing it in the Aotea Centre, Aotea Square. And we could also use Puha and Pākehā, which have a food truck, and both of those are used to catering for large numbers, but we felt New Zealand's not known for its formal events, and we wanted to do something a little bit more casual that showcased what's unique about New Zealand. And interestingly enough, the Māori Kitchen was recently named in the top 10 global dining experiences in the London Time Out magazine. So yeah, very cool. And then on Wednesday, we're thinking just having a heads of agencies dinner for a lot of the consultancies groups. We may want to do something else similar in terms of other specific streams, but in the past many people have found that they've already met new friends over that time and they want to do something on their own. In terms of tickets, tickets are available now. You can go online and buy your tickets right now, but I want to highlight and reiterate that every PRINZ member is also a member of the Global Alliance, and when we set the ticket prices, we looked very closely at what the prices were for the other World PR forums, and then we also tried to keep it as closely in line with what we currently charge for our annual conference. So the best kind of price to look at, I guess, is if you look at the business program for a GA member, it's $1,295, and that's for 2.5 days in there. So there's a lot of information on the website, the worldprforum.com website, but you can also access it via the PRINZ site. And just next page, we do have special prices for academics and students. And there's also special pricing for low-income countries and things like that, which obviously is not applicable to New Zealanders. What I would really, really love to request is that if you know you're going to attend, please buy your ticket now. Please don't wait until next year. As you can imagine, logistically, there is a lot to organise, and the more certainty we have around numbers, the more we'll be able to offer. So we will close tickets at the end of September. We will need to advise all the catering and suppliers of numbers at that stage. So if you think in that first week of October, oh, I really want to come to the World PR Forum, it will actually be too late and we'll have no ability to be able to accommodate you. It will be a little bit different from our annual PRINZ conferences. So yeah, please buy your ticket early. Please don't wait. There's also opportunities for partners, sponsorship, exhibitors. So if you would like to get in front of these participants from all these different countries, and I think we can, expect a large number of PRINZ members and hopefully people from related industries locally attending as well. But currently, ATEED is a sponsor of the World PR Forum. So we're just looking at those now. But if there's something that interests you, we're obviously looking for sponsors for some of the keynote speakers, for technology. I mean, we'd love an app, something like that. Please let us know and don't hesitate to get in touch with us. One of the things that we've also been asked a lot about, well, when we told people that we were hosting World PR Forum, they said, oh, I'm really keen to come, but I'm also happy to host, some international visitors if they want to come and stay. So if you are interested in doing that, please email Alice in the office. We're currently looking at a platform to enable people to do this easily, because we're promoting the World PR Forum on our social platforms, and we will be establishing discussion groups under the 4 strands. And so the idea is once people buy their tickets, the forum starts now, they'll be able to participate in discussions and things like that. But we do appreciate that the internationals visiting will be wanting to buy their tickets early because they'll have to book flights and accommodation and things. So if you're interested in this, we're going to look at how we can also promote this on the social platforms. Yeah. And in terms of your input, I mean, we've got volunteer groups providing advice on different themes and concepts, but we'd really like your thoughts. I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you think about the format and what you want to know under the particular strands. What would you like the discussions and the workshops to explore in greater detail? Keen to understand, do the social events sound interesting to you? Would you be keen on attending those? I know that a lot of local delegates often have other commitments outside of the actual conference days that they will go to. Obviously, because we're doing this with the Global Alliance, we won't be holding our annual awards dinner as part of this conference. We will be holding this in May next year instead. So the idea is that these social events replace that. And this is just the website, the worldprforum.com website, which has all the information on it in terms of, you know, if you're interested in submitting an abstract for the World PR Forum, the information on the theme and the strands is there, and information about travel and exhibitors and things. So please visit that. Okay, question. Have you got any plans to have a Pacifica element to the event? I think what we are looking at is including Pacifica elements within the actual forum content. One of the things that we were really careful about when we came up with the theme had to be globally applicable, and we also thought like the speaker balance has to be it has to be an international list of speakers. However, it's our intention that within the 4 strands, within the workshops, we would have a New Zealand speaker or facilitator or element to that represented at each level. And so there's a lot of flexibility around what that is. I mean, we want to include, you know, the whole kind of bicultural, multicultural uniqueness of New Zealand within. We want to imbue that in all elements of the forum without explicitly saying that this is, I guess it's, we want to show people this is how we do things in New Zealand rather than tell them necessarily. So it's a bit of a roundabout answer to your question, but yes, there are plans, but nothing at this stage has been confirmed. In terms of our timeline for announcing speakers, that will be early next year. We want to make sure that we've got the content and themes right before we then lock in speakers against those themes. Feel free to ask a follow-up if that didn't answer, if I didn't answer it properly. Oh, no question, just excited to attend. Yay, well, we look forward to seeing you there. Okay, any chance of participants using a WPRF 2020 participant logo for the websites? I'd love to use it on my LinkedIn profile and maybe my Airbnb. Great idea. Yes, can we steal that idea? We'll make it happen. I think that's really cool. I mean, we are relying on building excitement through our members and their relationships and using kind of shared media to promote. Cool, thanks. Conference looks exciting. Thank you. Anything else? Does anybody have any other questions? Thank you. No question sounds fantastic. You've all been working hard. Look forward to it. We look forward to everyone attending. So yeah, we want to, if a ticket is purchased for a staff member and that staff member leaves, is it transferable? You can look at, we've got quite detailed terms and conditions on the worldprforum.com website. There are, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there are options for full refunds or transfers, because we do realise that that happens, but you'll have to check the terms and conditions, and that's on the registration button on the worldprforum.com site, and you can always contact me. Someone says, one of the things I enjoyed about the TEDx conference was when there was an activity after lunch, I'd have put that forward as a way of getting energy flowing, and then you add some fun dancing or something to demonstrate New Zealand's cultural diversity. It is cool, and we want to ensure that there are a few left field things. I mean, for me, a couple of the highlights from the Oslo one, they closed the first day with a performance artist who was very, very cool. And they also opened the second day with a poet. So I think there's lots of ways of doing quite creative and unexpected things within the program. So yes. Would be great to come up with some t-shirt ideas. Yes, it would. And yeah, we think we have a cool theme and some cool ideas. So if you've got specific ideas, please send them through. We want all the help we can get. As you can imagine, our budgets are really, really tight. We are running this ourselves. We have a contractor project managing this part-time, and so it will get big quite quickly. Where do we send ideas? Either send them to me or send them to Alice, or and if you really want them done, send them to both of us. If one of us misses them, then the other one will pick it up. Anything else? If you've got any questions, feel free to send them through to us. Happy to talk about World PR Forum at any time, and yeah, please share your ideas with us. Thank you. Thanks for attending. And you've got extra time back in your day. Who doesn't love that?